What we like to suggest is pull the laptop up a little bit, because sometimes when those cords pull, the connection might kind of get a little itchy.
Like this kind of?
Take your laptop and slide it over. Yeah, there we go.
Okay.
So it's just not fully.
Yeah, I just didn't want to have it on top of like my. Okay.
Yeah, or put it on the other side so that the whole. Yeah, there you go. And then paper on the other side. Does that work?
Yeah, that's great.
Okay. Sorry, I just don't
No,
want
it's
it to.
totally cool.
More importantly, I don't want the thing to start freaking out on you.
Yeah, no, definitely.
Okay.
It's not there?
Okay. The stock market and investing is something that I have had a great passion for a very long time. I began investing when I was about 14 years old. It's something that I talked with my grandpa a lot about when I would visit him, and something that he taught me a lot about. So I developed a great appreciation for it growing up, and it's something that I have learned to love, and it's been one of my favorite hobbies since I was about 14, and something that I've continued for a very long time. While most people might find it very boring and not very interesting, I find it absolutely fascinating because there's so much to learn, and even if you follow it for years and years, you're always learning more, because there's not one right answer about how to solve and invest in the stock market. While the stock market is very complex, and I cannot teach you all about it in the next 8 minutes, I'm going to focus on what the stock market is and how investing works, the risk and reward involved in investing, as well as the different types of investing for different kinds of investors. So my first topic is, what is the stock market? The stock market is not one tangible thing that you can just say, here is the stock market. The stock market is a collection of all the different companies with all their different stock prices and settings. In his article, Collective Attention and Stock Prices, published August 8, 2015 by Raphael Heiberger, he focuses on patterns of the stock market, but ultimately has no final conclusions about the patterns of the stock market, which I find very interesting personally, because there are several different analysts who spend their whole lives studying the stock market, and because there's virtually no way to predict the future, the only way that they can analyze it is looking into the past to help them predict the future. However, one of the problems with this is that the past is so sporadic, there's no accurate way to tell from the past what's going to happen in the future. So one large topic is the risk of investing in the stock market. The stock market is viewed by many as gambling. A lot of people do not think that it's safe. They think it's just a way to lose your money, which can be true. The biggest risk involved in investing in the stock market is the large financial loss, obviously. So there have been several instances where the stock market has crashed and people have lost lots of their money, if not all. So for example, the stock market crashes of 1929 as well as 1987, and then, as some of us probably remember, the recession of 2008, where several people lost their jobs and the stock market took a severe dip in price. Published in May of 2003, Opportunity Stocks by Rhett Butler, he states, "You don't get rich by buying at the top of the bull market or at the bottom of a bear market." So what this means is you don't want to buy in a stock market at the top, and you also don't want to buy at the very bottom, which means there's a very select time that you're supposed to invest if you want to maximize profits, which kind of details how risky it can be because of the limited time there is to invest if you would like to maximize the amount of money that you're going to make. Along with risk is the common mistakes that people will typically make. The first one is not knowing exactly what you're doing. People that don't properly research the stocks that they're going to invest in typically leads to a loss in money because they don't properly prepare and plan for what they're going to do. And then the second one is overreacting to changes in the market. So, for example, if the market takes a severe dip, people will sell and just lose all their money instead of wait it out and wait for the stock market to eventually come back up, which it typically over history will do. So along with risk, there also is reward. So the rewards of the stock market obviously is the potential to make more money, which a lot of people would like to do. Because there's so much risk involved, it also means that there's a greater opportunity for reward, and that reward is more financial success. In his article, or in his book, Better, Stronger, Faster by Daniel Gross, which was published in March of 2017, he states the stock market has doubled since 2009. The stock market has, the entirety of the stock market on average, meaning stocks, every stock price has doubled since 2009, which was directly after the latest recession, which details the potential growth and success that you can have in the market because of how much money you can make. So there are different types of investing in the market, and it's all based on what you personally are looking for getting out of when investing into the stock market. So there are two types of investors. There are long-term investors and short-term investors. Long-term investors are people who invest their money with intent to keep it in the stock market and in the company they invest in for a long period of time. For example, like people in their early 20s or just got married and they're looking to potentially buy a house. They'll invest in lower risk stocks early on, hold them for a long time, and once that profit slowly grows, then they'll pull their money out. And the other type of investor is a short-term investor. Short-term investors are people who commonly day trade, which is the buying and selling of stocks each day, which is a little bit more risky, but it's for people who typically invest in riskier stocks and look to make more money quicker. Published September 14th, 1998 by George Halverson, Staying Warm in a Frosty Market. He points out the topic, what is your money for and how will you need it? So basically, upon what I just touched on, is that people invest based on what they're looking for, and people that don't know what they're looking for are typically taking a bigger risk because they'll make a mistake. So, the association between the daily market volatility and risk tolerance is a common topic in the stock market because the market volatility it varies from stock to stock. So the more volatile a stock is, it means the more that a stock will rise and fall per day, which correlates to how influenced people are to buy that stock. So one of the biggest problems is one of the biggest topics is the more volatile a stock is, it depends on the buyer if they're more interested or not to buy that stock. And typically, so according to Leanna Nobre, people who more volatile stocks are 64% less likely to be invested in as opposed to less volatile stocks, which are lower risk stocks. In his article, The Truth Behind the Oldest Bull Market, published August of 2018, Paul Lynn concludes that the truth is there is no right answer in the stock market. Like I touched upon in the beginning, personally, my favorite thing about the stock market and what I believe to be the most interesting is that no matter how long you study the stock market, there is not one true answer as to how to go upon it. You can invest short term or long term, and whatever works for that particular investor is what they believe is right. And the interesting thing about the stock market is that there is not one set way that you should invest. It's all left up to the investor. Thank you.
Man, how'd that go?
It was not great. I know I said a lot more than like I did when I was practicing and stuff. It was